Missing someone off the front row there. That is quite probably Finn Harmon who had a crash, but right now Neil Chappie in 76 there on pole position. Gets a good run there. Richard Markham Barrett on the little two-stroke there on the outside of the grid. He seemed to got the drag off the line. It is a drag to the first corner with amongst them, I think, Roger Castro. Not sure what's happening with Roger Castro. His timing may not have come up on the screen, but Roger Castro there in second place as Markham Barrett tries up on the inside there, going through that right-hander there into the left at 76, followed by Castro 24, then 47 Richard Markham Barrett. Kyron O'Neill I think is in behind him on the number 18 machine with Uriah Ryken there, Chris Beams, Chance Oliver Stevens. Look, these may not be in order at the moment because this is the first lap and it's as they went across the start-finish line, and David Johnson and Ken Jeston on the track, but already the battle goes on for second place with Chappie out in the front. It's two-stroke versus four-stroke. It's going into Higgins and coming out of Higgins at the moment. Castro gets a good drive out of there and starts to etch into the lead bike there, so maybe this is going to be his day, but that NSR 300 is just that little bit faster down that back straight, pulls 3 to 4 bike lengths off what he was trailing behind there. And Castro, big ride line into the media corner, go media corner and onto the front straight, so it's going to be a drag line. I think he's going to have it here almost. He's not quite, but by half a bike length, maybe a bike length. We'll have to have a look and see. 1.1 of a second. Neil Chappell, Roger Castro, Richard Markham Barrett there with Uriah Ryken there going up in the fourth place there. In a bit of a lonely position. My eyes are all on those front three bikes because Chappie's had it all his own way so far today, but I reckon Roger Castro might have it up his sleeve to try and serve him something, and he's a little bit quick, about 0.3 of a second quicker on that first lap. They run around on the 121s, but remember that is the first lap thing. So two bikes right down the front. ER6 Kawasaki, the Mead Speed 650 twin, and it's a rocket ship, this bike, and a 450 Yamaha 600 that's cut down to a 450cc. They've lost a cylinder out of it. They disable that. I think they put a bit of silicon RTV or bolt or something in the valve guides, or just shut the valves off and do something to the cam there, and some of them will run the piston, some will have a counterweight, and you change a 600 into a 450 and then it is eligible for the Superlight Formula 3 class. If you want to know what's out on the track at the moment, there's about 4 or 5 different ratios of bikes there. Just actually going to find which page my intermediate trophy. The intermediate trophy and the intermediate sprint should be the same. There's about 6 different options of bikes out there. Chappell goes back into the quickest man on the track, pumping it down into the 118s, a 118.446, just a little bit under the 118.5 mark, a 119.1 for Roger Castro there in second place, but he's still closing in. Something's going on with Richard Markham Barrett there, because he was right up there with these boys a lap ago, but he's now quite off the pace. He might have been a real hard charger to start with, but still maintaining the same lap time. So his best lap time on lap 1 was 121, and that's from a standing start. He's now down to the 122.2. So I say the man's got a problem with his bike, and this is allowing Uriah Ryken there to keep a close tag on him with maybe 60 metres down that centre straight. So something going on, I'm sure, with Richard Markham Barrett's bike. But over towards Higgins, we look at the lead bikes there. 4 laps to go in the intermediate sprint class, the CTAS live timing intermediate sprint class, with Chappie opening that bike up down that back straight, and we're looking back down to 3rd and 4th where the battle was on between the speed junkie machine of Richard Markham Barrett, the NSR 300. That's easy to spot. That's black and red, and Uriah Ryken in there. So lap times tick over, laps tick over. We're halfway through this 6-lap race here. Chappie's still the fastest man on the track, but only just by a whisker. A 118.227, a 118.321, so 0.1 of a second between them on the track. Can Roger Castro find it to pull in those maybe 20 metres, and then he's got to, of course, find his way past Chappell. Chappell's been slowing down sometimes in some of the earlier races, but once he hears that bike or looks over his shoulder and sees that bike, he's managed to find some form again and got back in there. So a great battle out in the front between the first 2 bikes, and another great battle between the 3rd and 4th bike out on the track there into the hairpin at the moment, with Uriah Ryken on the 57 machine in a bit of a lonely spot. We go back a bit further down to Kyron O'Neill on number 18 in 5th spot. Chris Beans, Rob Edwards, Ken Jeston, Chance Oliver Stevens and David Johnson. It's good to see Chance back out there because he had a DNF when he crashed a race or two ago. Over to the back straight, we see the podium, the minor podium money, and Markham Barrett has found some new speed, but the battle is on down the front straight here. The battle is on, and it's only going to be, it's 0.9 of a second in the last lap. Well, that has changed to 0.1 of a second with Roger Cathro down into the 16s, a 16.2, so nearly 0.8 of a second quicker on that last lap. And he's been following this chappie's bike round for the last well, most of the day actually. He's now going to work out where to pass him. Here comes the pass, possibly comes round that big sweeper there, tries up on the inside, doesn't quite have it there. I reckon he's got to find something at the hairpin, settles in behind there. Who's going to go high, who's going to go low? Cathro, no, they follow each other around that corner, and but certainly Roger Cathro, he stepped it up quite a little bit in that last lap and put it in the fastest lap of the race, so 1:16.266, whereas Neil Chappell was a 1:17.013. So Chappell will be able to hear this bike right in behind him, so he'll have to find something up his sleeve. No doubt he's got something. He's been around the motorcycle racing scene for some years, and as he does that, it looks to be down that back straight he's opened up the ante a little bit more. Don't know whether he's getting pit signals or he's just relying on what he can sense, either looking over his shoulder or hearing what's going on. Those bikes go round the Go Media corner, coming down onto the front straight for the last lap. The white flag is out. We had a 0.1 gap now. I can say it's up to about 0.3 or 4. What have we got? 0.374. How good is that? It's the final lap there. Looking out too that Richard Markham Barrett has broken away from Uriah Ryken there, so he's got 3rd place sewn up there. Of course, he's still going to do another final lap there, and you've got the old commentator's curse that might come into play, but my eyes now are down through the S's where Neil Chappell once again pulled out the fastest lap of 15.8, so he was quite a bit quicker. We see that battle going into the hairpin, and Chappell takes the wide line. No, Roger Cathro hasn't got it. Chappell just got the drive out of that hairpin as they go along the centre straight. He's got the drive. There's maybe 80 metres between 1st and 2nd place. We have a black marker that may come into play at the Go Media corner. I don't know. It's not going to happen, I don't think. I think that black marker is probably far enough ahead not to be part of the game. So C-Test Intermediate Trophy right out there, the Intermediate Sprint, sorry, we're on the final lap, we're on the final corner for the lead 2 bikes, and as mentioned, that back marker has not played any sort of part in this race, and he's enjoying himself out there. That's number 16, and that is David Johnson, as we see Neil Chappell take the win. Roger Cathro in 2nd place, looking out for Richard Markham Barrett coming around the Go Media sweeper, and he comes on there. He's going to take 3rd place in the class, with Uriah Ryken set to take 4th place there on the 57 machine, the Suzuki GSX-R 450, a 2005 machine. Coming along there, and his quickest lap time was 1:28.880. He slowed down into the 1:22s beforehand, so